Coming up on today's show, we will explain why the Seattle Seahawks defense is shocking the National Football League throughout the first 2 weeks of the 2024 campaign. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Mike Macdonald, the Seahawks' new head coach, has totally revamped this defense, and the results speak for themselves. We got plenty of numbers to go through that we'll tell you about coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, let's show some love to that Seahawks defense. If you love the way they're playing right now, like the video. You never know. Somebody on this defense could be watching, family member, friend. We want our voices to be heard loud and clear that we love what we've seen so far throughout the first 2 weeks. We're rooting these guys on. Like the video, we'll get started with today's show. Nobody knows this, folks. This is about to blow your mind. What's the meme? Yeah, you're about to see for yourself here in just a moment, folks. The Seahawks defense, through the first 2 weeks of the 2024 campaign, is putting up numbers that are very similar to the 2013 Legion of Boom team through the first 2 games of the season. And here's what we're going to do, folks. I am going to go through the statistics of what the Seahawks have done these first 2 weeks, and we're going to directly compare it to the Seahawks defense in 2013 of what they did in their first 2 weeks in those games against Carolina and San Francisco. They faced Cam Newton. They faced Colin Kaepernick, compared to the Seahawks teams that faced the Broncos with Bo Nix and the Patriots with Jacoby Brissett. Granted, I'll say this first and foremost, those 2013 teams that the Seahawks faced in the first 2 weeks were a lot better than these teams the Seahawks have faced the first 2 weeks of 2024. But nonetheless, the numbers are very, very similar. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a ride on the hot tub time machine back to 2013 when the Seahawks opened the season against the Carolina Panthers. In that game, the Seahawks allowed just 253 total yards. They forced 2 turnovers, and they only gave up 7 points. So it was a very good showing there week 1, 2013 against Carolina. And then you take that a step further. Some more numbers from that game. The Seahawks defense gave up 125 passing yards, just 1 passing touchdown, 125 rushing yards, and no rushing touchdowns. So that was a pretty good performance back in 2013 against Carolina. Now, let's directly compare that to week 1 against the Denver Broncos. The Seahawks defense, the debut for Mike Macdonald, the first time that we've got to see his defense in live action. They gave up 231 yards of total offense. A very strong showing to begin Mike Macdonald's first game with the Seahawks. They forced 3 total turnovers in that game. Bo Nix could not do anything. We saw Julian Love with a big interception, Rick Woolen with an interception. The Seahawks defense was fantastic. And they allowed just 20 points. And that number is a bit deceiving, folks, of the 20 points they gave up. Because if you recall, the Broncos had that just throwaway touchdown at the end of the game, that garbage time touchdown score. And then you had the 2 safeties that the offense gave up. So with that in mind, the Seahawks defense played better than what the final total represented with that 20 points. Then you take it a step further, all right? They allowed just 138 passing yards, really did a good job of keeping Bo Nix in check. Bo Nix did not have a single passing touchdown, and they allowed under 100 yards. Big accomplishment for this Seahawks team that struggled with defending the run in 2023. That was their biggest issue when it came to the defense, and just 1 rushing touchdown. So there you go. Looking at week 1 of both sides, very similar. Now let's take it a step further. Let's go to week 2 now, 2013, Seahawks and Niners. Russell Wilson facing off with Colin Kaepernick. The Seahawks that day gave up a total of just 207 yards. Very good day. They forced 5 turnovers in that game and only allowed 3 points. An outstanding showing from the Seahawks defense back in 2013, week 2 against San Francisco. Only 107 passing yards allowed, as well as just no passing touchdowns. You could probably figure that out when they only gave up 3 points. 100 rushing yards allowed that day, and no rushing touchdowns either. Now, let's transition to week 2 of 2024 against New England. The Seahawks gave up 310 yards allowed. Now, that number is significantly more than Week 2, 2013, but when you factor in this game went to overtime and all that, then, okay, you give this defense a bit of a break. They didn't force any turnovers, but they were still very effective in slowing down this New England offense, particularly in the second half, and they gave up 20 points. And if you're telling me you can win a game in overtime only giving up 20 points, that to me is a big deal. That's a big accomplishment for this defense. They kept Jacoby Brissett in check, 125 passing yards. We talked about in the lead-up to this game that the Seahawks needed to basically put the game in Jacoby Brissett's hands, where they'll say, hey, we'll take our chances on you beating us, and they did so, holding him to 125 passing yards, only one passing touchdown. Rushing yards did give up a decent amount, 185 rushing yards, and one rushing touchdown, but still under 200. And there was a lot of games last year where this Seahawks defense gave up more than 200 rushing yards. Now, is this defense as good as 2013? Of course they are not. That was a historically good Seahawks defense back in 2013. But we say all this to say that the results speak for themselves, that Mike Macdonald has taken tremendous strides in improving this group, that it's showing there in those results. There's still a ways to go, but you can't deny the progress that's been made here throughout the first 2 weeks of the season. They're not the 2013 group, and that's okay, but they're heading in the right direction, and that's what matters. That's what's most important here. Do you believe in the Seahawks defense? What do you guys think? We're going to go over some numbers here in just a moment, a little bit further of where this defense stacks up amongst the rest of the NFL, but want to hear from you guys. Do you believe? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Z-Biotics. Oh, let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I have to make it a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That is until I found Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Pre-Alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this product down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. The first time I tried Z-Biotics was at my 25th birthday. As instructed, I drank a bottle of pre-alcohol before any alcohol, and I was amazed at how good I felt the next day. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use code chatsports at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode and our good times. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. All right, let's take it a step further now and look at the defensive rankings of where this Seahawks defense is stacking up right now. As you can see, opponents' points per game allowing 20 points. That is 12th best in the NFL. A lot better than what it was a season ago. But, folks, it doesn't stop there. Opponents' yards per game down to 270.5, under 300 yards. That's 6th best in the NFL. Opponents' points per game per play, 0.296. That's 11th in the NFL. And opponents' yards per play, 4.0. That's 2nd best in the NFL. Folks, wow. And it doesn't stop there. Opponent third down conversion percentage, that could do a little bit more work. 17th best at 32.35%. Fourth down conversions right now is at 100%, but granted it's a small sample size, so that stat's a bit of an outlier with the Seahawks at 23rd. Opponent red zone scoring touchdown percentage is at 37.5%. That's 12th best in the NFL. And then opponent touchdowns per game, just 1.5. 6th best in the NFL. The Seahawks defense, what that statistic shows you, folks, is the Seahawks are doing a really good job of the 4-point play situations where teams are not getting touchdowns and they're settling for field goals. That goes right back to Mike Macdonald, folks. It continues. Opponent touchdown margin per game, negative 0.5. That's 9th best. Takeaways per game, 1.5. 9th best. Giveaways a game, 1.0. 8th best. And then opponent interceptions thrown percentage, 2.9%. That's 14th best in the league. So of all those statistics, I know it was a lot of numbers, folks, but you only had one stat of those statistics that we mentioned, of running through all those stats there, where the Seahawks were not in the top half of the league. That is a long ways from where we were at this point, even just a year ago, after week 2 of 2023. The goal for this defense, we've said for a long time. I know a lot of you have said to me, Tyler, can this group be a top 10 defense? And I have said from the moment that Mike Macdonald got hired, I've been very consistent about this, and I'll continue to be consistent on this, is that let's take some baby steps here for a moment. Let's see this defense get to a top 15 defense first, and then work our way up from there. And right now, through 2 weeks, they're already there. Now, it's about finishing the job, continuing to get better. This can't be the peak of this defense. As this year goes along, the numbers that we're seeing, they need to continue to improve and see this team carried by their defense. That's a great thing. They're already at a top 15 defense. Now let's see if they can get to top 10 from here. Do the Seahawks have a top 10 defense this year? What do you guys think? Is this the end-all, be-all? Is this group going to be a top 10 defense? Weigh in. Y for yes, in for no. Seahawks Today is bringing you the latest news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks each and every day here on the channel, sometimes with 2 and 3 videos a day. We're live every week with our Wednesday live show. We're also bringing you our watch parties for every game day, breaking news, interactive Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all in one place right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. Join the 12s. Help us reach our next milestone of 57,000 subscribers on the channel, youtube.com/SeahawksTV to stay up to date with the latest happenings on your favorite team. So, it's been a great start. The numbers look pretty comparable to that 2013 Legion of Boom team. And now we sit here and say to ourselves, what is next for the Seattle Seahawks? What is that next step to make sure that they're in that top 10, that upper echelon of great defenses in the NFL? Well, let's look ahead to this upcoming week with the Seahawks taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins likely without Tua due to the concussion, and so that means that Skylar Thompson, the former K-State quarterback, third or fourth year for him in the NFL, is going to get the start. And, I mean, you just got to shut down Skylar Thompson. I mean, it sounds easy, but, folks, this is what it comes down to. If Skylar Thompson has a rough day, the Seahawks defense is going to have a great day, and the Seahawks win. It's simple as that, folks. Skylar Thompson is not a good quarterback. I can tell you that right now. Remember, he was picked ahead of Brock Purdy in the same draft. Career completion percentage, 57%, 614 yards. Only 1 touchdown in 8 career games played. This guy's cheeks, folks. 3 interceptions. I don't even think he's a very good backup. So if you're the Seattle Seahawks here heading into this week, it's pretty simple. You can't let Skylar Thompson beat you. And what's it going to take to shut down Miami and Skylar Thompson? You got to force Thompson into multiple turnovers. You got to finish pressures with sacks. We got to see Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. We even got to see Devin Witherspoon on the blitz packages get involved and really just get a lot of pressure on Skylar Thompson. And then slow down Miami's run game. When you look at that Miami offense, with the question marks at that quarterback position with Skylar Thompson stepping in, what the Seahawks have to do is they cannot allow the run game to beat them. They have to stack the box and see what Skylar Thompson could potentially do. I'll take my chances on Skylar Thompson. What I'm not doing is letting that run game be the reason why Miami wins this football game. If the Seahawks do those things, they're going to be in great shape for this week, and then we'll go from there. If you enjoyed today's show, if you're all in on this Seahawks defense, like the video. I got to tell you, 2 weeks in, I'm feeling excited. You can feel the momentum. This is real, folks. I know some of you are going to say, yeah, you face the Broncos, you face the Patriots. I get that. Believe me. But it's real, folks. The momentum is real. You can feel it. The juices are flowing. Like today's video. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.